You all know I love cooking, and one way to make your meal extra delicious is to use fresh herbs. So I always wanted to have my own herb garden, but I have no idea how to start. So I went to the Ray Wiegand's nursery in Macomb to talk to the experts.
Herbs are very easy to grow. They can be from beginner gardeners all the way to great gardeners that have gardened their whole life.
Plus, as I found out, herbs have many other uses besides just cooking with them.
Peppermint is a great deterrent for bugs. So other things that are great for getting rid of bugs, how about lemongrass? Have it in your tea, but also get rid of mosquitoes with it. Citronella plant, not an herb to eat, but often in the herb plantings to keep mosquitoes out of the garden when you're in there trimming and enjoying your herb garden.
Other herbs attract good bugs, like butterflies.
You've got rue, bronze fennel, dill, and regular fennel that'll attract black swallowtails in. Almost everyone I know that does a large area of that gets caterpillars. Nasturtium is a great butterfly attractor for nectaring. This is actually a spicy flower that's edible, kind of like a perennial viola. You can add them, and those will attract butterflies as well.
They can also add color to any garden. Certain
perennial things like purple sage makes a wonderful little mass in the garden that adds a lot of color. Beautiful perennial lavenders that will get 3 by 3 like Rocio and Phenomenal and really add something, but they can also make soaps and you can make cookies out of them. Something like a thyme, it makes a great ground cover in midsummer, it blooms pink.
So I opted to go with the planter route for my herb garden, and I'm gonna do a lot of cooking. So I have some rosemary, purple sage, thyme, mint, oregano, basil. Plus, I want to keep the bugs away, so I'm going to put a citronella plant in there as well.
Containering would be the best way for someone who's a beginner gardener to start, and then they can move on from there and decide what they like and move things into the ground in the fall that might be perennial.
Okay, now that I have my herbs, how do I take care of them?
The best way to know what to water is feel. A lot of people don't touch down into their pot. If it's very dry, give it a water. If it's moist, don't water it. Especially with herbs, they like to be on the drier side. A big mistake a lot of people want to do is save on the money and leave half the pot full of the dirt. Those can be full of funguses and things like that that are gonna come across all your plants, powdery mildew, stuff like that. So removing all the soil is a good idea. You definitely want to do that yearly.
And keep in mind, some herbs are trickier than others.
Like mint, they can be very aggressive growers, so keeping it within a container will really help. Basil doesn't like to be overwatered. It's a common mistake, everyone. It's a luscious leaf, and it gets a little wilty, and they overwater it. They start watering it every day. Keep an eye on it. Let it dry out in between. Otherwise, you can get rot, and then it falls apart.
All right, they said to place it in an area that gets full sun. So this is probably the sunniest part of my yard. And there we go. I have an herb garden.